What's up? This is your boy Shrimp, the Prodigal Shrimp, and I'm here once again to share with all of you my grinding process in becoming a good artist. But before I explain what's happening here, I would like to thank you all for watching this video, and if you watch my first video, thank you so much for leaving a like and I really appreciate it. Now I won't talk a lot in this video and I will only keep it brief and simple. This is a concept art that I did for a work practice under the supervision of my best boss. But most of the idea is still mine, and my boss gave me the support and advice I needed to look out for as I create this art. So the scene here that I'm making is a steampunk sci-fi harbor at a nighttime sea. I started by making the shapes first and dividing the canvas into the parts of focus that will lead your eyes to the focal point of the design. This is by far one of the most important process in painting and creating concept arts. I would admit that I am struggling in this part of the process and needs a lot of working out. As you will see here, there will be a lot of trial and error that I did to figure out what shapes of buildings and landscape should be kept or not. There were a lot of ideas in my head that I want to put, but at the same time, I must remind myself that too much detail would just make my art suffer. That's why trial and error is an important process to help me realize what should stick right. This is basically creating a rough sketch of my idea. When all the elements and shapes are in the right spots where I want them to be, I finally decided to correct the perspective. Now this might not be the right process. You might say that I should have done the perspective first. And to be honest, to me now I would really agree with you, but for the old me who sucks at perspective so much, I could still say that it still worked out and I'm proud of it. If it were the old me. Like I said before, this is a video process of me trying to improve, and it really helps me a lot in making these videos because it's also a recording of my past mistakes that will help me improve. But enough about that, and let's get back to this. As I said earlier, I corrected the perspective of the buildings and their shapes during this process, which eventually led to a big mistake that I will point out later. It's a mistake that made me misjudge the size and mass perspective of some of the front buildings. I would probably notice it sooner if I had at least put a grid guide and a human size comparison as soon as possible when I started painting. It won't have been impossible to fix it if I noticed it earlier, and maybe if I have like I said earlier, if I had put the grids for the buildings and for the perspective for the people's point of view, maybe this won't happen. Alright then, I'll talk a bit more later, so until then, enjoy the process as I continue painting this in grayscale. Hey guys, the shrimp is back to talk about the story behind the female statue in the middle of the city. The idea here is that this statue is the patron goddess of the city, and it also serves as the city's power source. Later on, as I paint its hands, there will be cables shooting out through the city to provide power. This is also the focal point of the painting. I was inspired by the statue of Jesus Christ in the city of Rio de Janeiro, overlooking the city, and this is my rendition of that beautiful landmark. At last, the only person visible in this art, the lucky pirate, is giving a toast to the goddess of the good fortune that he received. The funny thing about this is that when I was drawing this at the very beginning, the model in my head was Orlando Bloom from Pirates of the Caribbean. But then when I heard or saw the hearing about Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard, I decided to change the character into Jack Sparrow at the very end of this painting because to commemorate the great Johnny Depp and his character Jack Sparrow. For the coloring here, I use a soft layer and an overlay layer to add color to the grayscale paint. I usually use this method to easily put a base color on the painting, plus it preserves the texturing that I did during the grayscale processing. After I am satisfied with the base color, I will merge them and then start painting over it. I will now point out the mistake I mentioned earlier. It was actually my boss who pointed it out to me when he noticed that the first building on the right, if you compare it to the building right next to it, you will notice that this one-story building is actually bigger compared to the two-story building next to it. I should have changed the shape of the building to make it look like a two-story building. Trust me, I tried it, but it didn't really work. But that would ruin also the perspective of all the objects that are in front of it. And if I change the size of the building behind it too, it will still ruin some of the perspective and details that I already added, that I think it was working really well with the environment, and I was really reluctant to change it. So this is why perspective grids is very important to avoid this kind of mistakes. This is also one of the things that my boss pointed out to me. The values of all the buildings are all the same. You see, values or the shadings depth should lessen and gets brighter the further apart they are due to the atmosphere. Luckily, this is quick. This is a very quick fix because I separated the objects into group of layers, so it's easy to manipulate the values quickly. I will also add some fog later to add more atmospheric ambience to emphasize the distance of the buildings. Now the boat's tent or the sail, whatever it is I decided to put on that boat, uh, that part is, I think, really, now that I think about it, it's really irrelevant and it was taking a lot of space, like what my boss said to me. Thanks to that advice, I realized that if I remove that sail, I could free a lot of space on the painting, and with that, it helped the painting to breathe out, to have more space where I can put something more valuable or more uh, relevant to the painting that will help it to be on point. And that's pretty much it, everyone. This concept art took a lot of time and a lot of effort just to finish, and I would say that my basic still sucks, and it needs a lot of improvement. But I will also say that I enjoyed every step that I took, even the bumpy ones, because that's what's important about this, is to enjoy what you are doing. I might be an amateur artist for now, compared to the ones out there that are very good, especially the ones that I idolize. But that's what's important about this, is that I do not stop, and I will keep grinding so that I will finally reach that top and become a professional artist one day. Once again, thank you very much for watching. I will post more videos of my grind, maybe a few short videos that will divide my painting process, and also some videos of me having fun with my fellow coworkers and artists at a video game called Among Us. Look forward to more stuff, and I will see you again next time. This is your boy Shrimp, the Prodigal Shrimp, and back to my grind. Goodbye.